What's going on, fellow bashers? Welcome back to Bash and Bass TV. Today, I figured I'd do a little tutorial video for you guys. It's cold, rainy, nasty weather outside, fish aren't biting. I really don't want to be out in it. So I decided to take this opportunity to clean my reels. It's been about a month. So I figured I'd show you guys how to take apart, grease, lube, and clean Baitcasters. I'm going to for this video, I'm going to use my Lew's Mach 1. I also have my Abu Garcia Black Max that I'm going to do probably off camera. I also have some spinner reels, but those are pretty easy to do. The Baitcaster is the tough one, and I've done it now quite a few times to where I feel comfortable doing it. And not a lot of people have good videos out there on how to do this. So I decided that I'm going to strap my GoPro onto my hat and give you guys my first-person perspective of how to take apart and clean these things. I'm going to go step by step, show you some of the little things that I've learned how to do to make sure that it goes smoothly, you don't lose any pieces, and it's worked pretty well for me so far. So without further ado, we're going to get started on this thing, alright? Alright, so what we have here, here's the reel. Here's the Abu Garcia Precision Grease that we use. We got Real Oil by Real Eagle Claw. This stuff's pretty reasonably priced. It's only like $5. Got some pliers. Got a socket wrench. This is a lifesaver. And a little screwdriver. I also got a bunch of Q-tips and a bowl of water and paper towels to dry stuff off. First thing, before you even get started, what I like to do is set down a towel. So when you take this thing apart, you can set the pieces on it and it doesn't shift and slide around on a hard surface, and it makes sure that it doesn't like fall on the ground. Plus, the contrasting colors, it's easy to see your pieces that you're putting down on the towel. Alright, so you have all your tools, you have everything set up. The first thing you do is take off the handle here. So you got the little screwdriver to take out the screw. This is like a little plate that protects the nut from shifting and loosening up on the reel there. So you just... Actually, what you can do is get a flathead, like I have here, get under it and pop it off. It'll just slide right off, like that. Now, this thing makes things so much easier. Alright, so one thing that I've also learned is take pictures of this reel as you're taking it apart. So you know exactly what it looks like, because you have pieces in here. So you take that off, take a picture of it, so you know what goes where. Because if you're like me, you'll forget. Alright, so here's the drag. You just unscrew that, and it'll let you just start unreeling or unscrewing on pretty freely. And now you have all these washers right under here. Take a picture of those so you know the order that they go in. Because again, you don't want to do it wrong. And you should just slide right off. Alright, so now you got all those off. And I keep everything kind of grouped together with where it goes, to make sure that nothing gets crossed up and messed up. So everything is neat and orderly with where it's supposed to be. Next, you take apart the reel now with these screws. You got 3 on one side, and then you got 1 right here. So you just take those apart now. Got those 4 screws out of the way. Now you can pull the reel apart. You have this little lever right here that you can actually, what I like to do, ignore that. So you can just pull this out now. And I like to, and you got a washer that fell out. I like to keep this side attached to the gear So when you slide this back on, nothing shifts, and it's actually it's just easier that way. I don't take the complete and total thing apart, basically. So I got my Q-tips here. I'm just kind of getting any kind of moisture, any of the nastiness from the lake off of it. So next, what I do is this Ugly Garcia grease. Put it right here on the gear teeth. Just a little bit. And you just kind of work it around. And what you can do is just turn the gear to where it's rubbing on this other gear, and it'll spread it pretty evenly. You don't want the grease to get on top of this gear right here. It just makes things all gunky. Also, be aware of these two springs that are right here. They aren't glued on or anything. They will come out, so be really careful with those. So get a little bit more of this grease here. There we go. And that's all you need to do with this side of the reel. So we're gonna take this and put it back on here, like so. We're gonna take this little washer and drop it down, right like that. All right, so next, we screw it back together. We have our 4 screws. Now, I hold this washer in place, turn it over, and screw this last one in right here. Alright, so that was the nerve-wracking part, because you mess up the gears and all that stuff and it's going to be terrible. Alright, so now, again, I have terrible memory. The good thing is, I took pictures. So, I know that these 3 pieces right here go on first. And they go on just like so. This top one is always a pain in the butt to put back on. Doesn't want to just slide on for me, ever. There we go, I did it. Hooray. Now, I screw this piece back on here. And then if you hold the spool part right here, if you turn this, the thread thing moves. If you hold it, nothing will actually turn until you get down tighter. Then you put this little washer back on here, like so. Put the handle on. Now, you can, there we go. I like to just hand tighten this little nut first, if I can get the threading on right. There we go. Tighten it up with that. Oops, come on. Now, see, this is kind of too tight. I tightened it a little too much. So you can just loosen it a little bit until this thing turns to match up with the hole. Come on. There we go. So now it's lined up, but it's not too loose that it'll fall off, because this little guard here will make sure it doesn't move at all. if you lose that guard, which I have done before, and replace it for me because they're very nice like that, it'll make things very difficult. This thing will always want to unscrew on its own. So now you can just tighten it back up a little bit more if you can. That side's done. Now, pull this little lever down here. This will open this side up. So do that, and you can take your spool out. Now all this thing right here gets the most wear and tear and the most gunk in it. So I like to take a Q-tip, get it wet with some just regular tap water, some fresh water, and just start getting the gunk and the crap out of there. And you see I use this a lot, so I'm getting a lot of, that's like all pond scum and crap in there. So you get it wet and then take a paper towel and just kind of wipe stuff out. Where's my flathead here? If you get the flathead in there, in the little crevices, you can scrape some stuff out. Just be really gentle with it. See all that garbage in there? You got all these little cracks and everything. It's not fun. I mean, this is only a month of using it. And this is in the wintertime, so I don't even use it as much as I do in the summertime. So just imagine what it's like in the summer. I mean, as much as I fish, I should probably be cleaning this every week or 2 weeks instead of every month. But so far, so good. So the one thing I do like to make sure I clean out is the little hole where the thread comes out of. Make sure that there's nothing really obstructing that thread from moving. So clean that off. Now, the spool's out. All right, so what we do is you turn it over, and you see that little hole right there. You got your real oil, and just squeeze one drop into that hole. And then I like to take my Q-tip that's clean, just kind of wipe off any extra that came out. Now, you also do the same thing on this side. Just one little guy right in there. Boom, done. Put your spool on like that. Actually, I'm going to give this guy a quick once over too, I think. Get some of that pond gunk out of there. It's not too bad this time compared to last time. Throw that away. Alright, now you just line everything back up. Just drop that in there. Now the threads, you just make sure the thread's out like that before you put everything back together. And boom. The last thing you do is this little track right here. Take a drop of that oil. And put it on there, and then reel it back and forth to help spread that oil around. Sometimes I'll put one on each side. Boom, just like that. And just kind of move it around. And now that thing is good to go. Okay, so that was it. That's how to take apart, grease, oil, and clean your baitcaster reel. If you do this once every 2 weeks to once a month, your baitcaster will last a very long time. You treat your equipment right, it'll treat you right, you'll catch more fish, you'll have more fun on the lake. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at BashandBassTV. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you get more good content like this. And until next time, just keep bashing.